Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to Spiritism at Noon. We are currently studying the book A Full Life, written by the spirit of Joanna de Angelis through the medium Divaldo Franco. Every lesson brings a new topic, a new discussion. So you're welcome to join us each and every week for new discussions. So today we are going to be reading chapter 16 that is called Real Victory. In the material world, everything, including all occurrences, results from demands imposed by matter or seen as indispensable requirements of physical life. Before the despair of those who hungered for material bread, he announced, ethics establish the essential principles for optimal results by which many people believe themselves to be happy or unhappy. The issues of interpersonal relationships slowly rise and move to the forefront, while the spirit remains in a secondary role. Nonetheless, to shift to the forefront, discerning between the essence and the instrument is key. Because the material world is visible and reach similar alternatives, over time, the external demands emerge as being fundamental. As we become able to achieve an identification between the body and the soul, it is critical that the soul receives special attention, just as the body is vitally dependent on oxygen to live. And as soon as this healthy behavior is acquired, inner beauty arises as an essential tool to attain inner harmony. So Joanna de Angelis starts here again calling our attention to the natural development of us human beings. We we came from stages where we were even more connected to materiality, even more dependent on everything that was related to matter, to, of course, our development that means the development of the spirit. However, as she mentions to us here, this doesn't happen overnight, and it's going to be different for each person. And and the sooner we contribute for that to happen, for us to think more about the essence, what we truly are, the sooner we will be able to acquire what she calls here this health behavior. We are going to be feeling much more in peace and harmony. And so this is the goal of human life. And it's very important always to emphasize that this is not going to be happening in just one existence. But it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters is that at each step further, we will feel more and more this healthy way that she's talking about, this peace, this harmony, and all of that she's talking about here. So this is the essential thing. I mean, I'm not going to feel. Let's say that we are happy today because of something. But then we start thinking, yeah, but there are so many more things that I want that I would like to happen. Then I start feeling unhappy because I don't have those things. But listen, you're happy because this thing is happening to you now. Why are we always, never satisfied with things and always aiming for more? In this case, normally we are referring to physical things, to material things. But this is what we have to keep in mind. Even if we are not at the ultimate result of peace and harmony and happiness, we have to see from where we came. I was just thinking there was one song, one uh, that it's a Brazilian song that it says something like this, you know, you are sad and complaining now. Look from where you came and where you are. In fact, if you were, it was almost for you not to be here, but you are enduring, you are getting things. So I think this is one of the points that Joanna de Angelis makes here, that it's time for us to start thinking about not keeping the spirit as in a secondary role, as she says. Now it is the time of the spirit and no longer the time just of the physical body or and matter. Comments, questions? Yes, Sonia.
I believe the first step, more material, is when we start to pay attention more about our health. Not physical, like how built or how about my hair or skin, but the real health inside our body.
Mm-hmm.
Then medical exams and things like things, I think it's the first step before we start pay attention about spiritual. Okay, they can walk together, but I believe it's a movement when we start this kind of transformation to detach about only material body. And when you think about your material body, you think more, how long can I live this life?
Yeah, I think what you're trying to say it's something very interesting, Sonia. Is like, you know, we have to start seeing the body as a vessel, as an instrument. It's not the main thing. So you want to be in good health, and you want to be okay according to the health standards that are going to assure you to have a better life, because you're not suffering from this or that, the abuses that we can impose on our bodies, and not necessarily any longer because you know, this is it. I am the body. No, we are not the body. And I think this is the main transition when we start seeing that we are not the body. I was just reading yesterday from a book that I start to translate now, the book Joan of Arc by Leon Denis. And and he was telling that, you know, there are scholars that were questioning who were really the spirits that were talking or presenting themselves with Joan of Arc. They said St. Catherine. They do not specify exactly which St. Catherine. We have so many, and St. Margaret, and they, you know, they brought so many questions. And then Leon Denis, he keeps on saying, listen, spirits live so many lives, and especially when they achieve a level of superior spirits, you know, they are not troubling themselves with a name or associating themselves with a name. They may provide you with a name because you need the name. But I mean, who are they after, like, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 lives? What's your name? Right. And so I was thinking about that. Even, you know, those things that are more specifically related to determine who are you, Okay, okay, we know who we are in this incarnation and what name, what label we we have, right, in our birth certificate. But it doesn't even mean that you feel this way. Sometimes, there are people that they have their names, they change their names because they don't even feel that way. They don't communicate with the name at all. So this is, I think it's what it is about here and what you're saying, Sonia. It's not thinking about the body as being, our main asset, but thinking about the body as being a great asset for us to accomplish what our spirit needs. Because depending on what we do with this body, it can not allow us to do things, right? Yes. Okay, so let's go on here. With these two philosophical tools, beings strive to improve their behavior in pursuit of self realization and harmony, which represents the aesthetics that help them remain continuously vigilant so that the outside easily reflects the inside. Through millennia of anthropological evolution, special tools were used to transform rough rock, melted metals, and stick clay into incomparable artifacts, which speak of human beings' glorious moral achievements essential for their triumph. When you concentrate on the climb to attain plenitude, do not focus solely on the difficult and enormous hurdles, but principally on the selection of those that can help you move in the right direction. Ethics is like a glorious light shining in the darkness of ignorance. It demands effort and humility if it is to be genuine, as opposed to being the shadow of pride, poorly hidden in crafty ways or in the labyrinths of the ego. And once this goal has apparently been reached, we cannot stop there as we can always improve social and moral behavior, finding inspiration in the very laws of nature. Human beings have examples of order and transcendental greatness and the laws serving as the foundation for their own way to deal with life and being perfect in harmony with it. A behavior that was learned by repeatedly following principles held as important by society is often considered to be ethical, but it is rather a moral conquest resulting from selecting what is genuinely healthy and good compared to what is pleasurable, but disconnects the being from its essential existential purpose. So the philosophical tools here, right, is about uh, improving ourselves, improving our behaviors, improving our concept of what life is about, what we are actually doing here, right? And the things like she says here, sometimes when we are thinking about going into this journey, we think too much about the obstacles. And she shows an example like, rough rock, melted metals, and stick clay were incomparable artifacts, right? So we've been achieving improvement in terms of the material life, which doesn't mean that we are not going to be achieving in terms of the spiritual life. So once we understand that we are talking about moral, ethical values, and understand that if we, really put ourselves into it, into working into this plan of this spiritual betterment, we are going to achieve that. But it's quite often we keep on being distracted or dismayed by looking at our failures. We think, oh my God, I thought I was in the good track, and look what I just did, or what I just said to someone, or how rude I was, or something like that. That, all of a sudden you were not even being rude, but you were being indifferent. And indifference at this point in our life hurts. Right? We have to pay attention to others, to situations, and indifference is not a good thing. It's not a good trait in someone that is working in their moral and ethical values. So it may not even be uh, a horrible thing. Right. Before you would say, no, I was just indifferent, and that's okay. But now this omission also hurts you, because you're already better than that, and you are bettering ourselves. And so this is, I think, what she's saying here, um, and to create a pattern of behavior, because also with constant effort we will keep each time incorporating those attitudes in our lives, as being a second nature to us. So many things already are second nature to us. I have to tell you something. Sometimes, I'm watching one of those movies or series on TV. They are from the 90s. And I look at things that I said, oh my God, we could not have those things today. This is not right. And we are just talking 30 years back. So in 30 years back, in 30 years, we have already acquired some conscience, some knowledge, or, that we didn't have before. And it's really interesting, and how much we have. I don't know if you agree with that, but sometimes when I watch movies from the 80s or the 90s, there are more things that um, makes me feel uncomfortable than when I watch movies from the 60s, or like, those old movies that it was always about, Queen Sheba or something. I mean, they are old, the techniques are not okay, they had their way of going, but in terms of moral values, I think that in the last 30 years, or, we have achieved a lot in our society, and I don't know if you agree or not, but I mean, it's just a thinking. Any comments or questions?
Something different. Sometimes I feel I need to fix some kind of indifference
Mm-hmm.
to preserve me not to be involved in some situation I believe it's not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Then, like, I fake. I don't understand the thing like this. Just not to be involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's inside myself, it's an effort.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it's not easy to be quiet and not answer something. Then I think then I couldn't understand
Yeah.
like a behavior like indifferent. But in fact, inside myself, I am, oh my goodness, how is possible this person behavior in this way?
Yeah, you touch at a good point, because I think we're having difference in two different situations here. One thing is, like, that we may call like indifference is not to meddling in others' business, and sometimes we shouldn't do that. a couple is fighting, it's not up to you to get in the middle. It's not because you are being indifferent, but you understand that it's not your role. It's not up to you to go there and start meddling or taking sides or anything. So this is not indifference. Indifference is that when I say, being really oblivious, indifferent to what is happening to the world. Your neighbor is going through a difficult situation, and okay, you know, or you get in a building, there is the doorman there is like, there is not even a human being in front of you because you completely ignore that person. That's the kind of indifference I was talking about. Indifferent to the sufferings of others, or even sometimes to the happiness of others. Because sometimes we mean someone comes to us with all happy, telling us something good, and okay, and and our response is so cold that we can affect the happiness of the person just because we've been so indifferent. And you know that's what I was more thinking about. But yeah, it's important for us to think about it.
And about evolution. In one hand, we have a lot of technology evolution, but if we look about moral and what's important for others, we
Mhm.
look like, oh my god, we're still there.
Yeah, but we better. We are better. We are better.
Yeah. I feel like when I look my life back 30 years ago, I think, oh, I had some progress
Yeah,
inside myself and my behavior,
yeah,
but I don't know when I look all around the planet because
yeah. And you see, Sonia, it's an important thing to mention as well. It's not because we are 30 years older that we'll say, oh, now it's because now I have more experience, or I learn more from life. No, because uh, it's not uncommon for us to see in the elderly a certain, uh, bitterness, right? Or discontentment with life because they don't have a purpose, they do not understand this, and are not looking for this getting better, morally, spiritually, ethically speaking as well. So it seems that now it's just downhill, waiting for me to die or something like that. So it is not because we learn, of course, from experience as well, but we are learning from the spiritual perspective. If it were not from the spiritual perspective, of course, we would have all the experiences of life, but we would be missing on this other part that even lead us to appreciate being older and understanding, everything that you learn from that, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not old as an age, but old as a
Yeah.
learning process.
Yeah. Hmm. Yes, and the improvement that comes from within, from really, and I mean, some people may find that through other means, right? Through works of charity, through dedication to works that can help humankind, through dedication in their jobs, because everything matters, right? And so there are many avenues that we can go and explore to reach that. But I mean, here, I'm thinking we are taking a highway, a recently paved highway. So you can take the the other roads, but this one is when you really dedicate to spiritual values, you take a highway. Okay, let's continue reading here. The first human right is the right to live and enjoy well-being, and not merely to live well by accumulating things and situations that are described as necessary for happiness. It is worth reflecting on the popular proverb that says that the happy man had no shirt, but above all, he was wise. This is the key of the ethical principle, to educate oneself to wisely face all challenges with the same good cheer, recognizing the fine line between what is progress and what is failure. So, again, give the proper value to things. We live in a material world, we need material things, but we are not just that. And as long as we are not jeopardizing or the our spiritual advancement, it is okay. So again, it's not about what we have in terms of material things, but what we have in terms of the spiritual virtues acquirement. When you look at yourself with eyes of self pity and feel like a victim, free yourself from this heightened sentimentality and bring forth more mature feelings so that you may grow on many levels. The good is always adorned with patience and love, allowing change and transparency for the light to enter the space, transforming it all into an enchanted sun. Do not miss the opportunity to come to the aid of those who seek you in their sufferings. Remove the thorns while you mentally connect with the universal love that exists everywhere, proclaiming the glory of God. When the spirit awakens to its inner light and follows its path, it becomes immersed in the sweet vibrations of peace. Real peace and legitimate triumph only exist when the essential being shares the same content as the vessel that contains it and spreads it out. A long period of adaptation and improvement is required to know how to appreciate legitimate qualities. The being's evolutionary process is present everywhere, from imperfection to order, from what is beautiful to what is in need of harmony. So here is exactly what she's talking about to us. It takes time. And well, the self pity, I know that, right? Feeling like a victim. So, no, don't go to the sentimentality, she says, and go to more mature feelings, right? Understanding that there is always purpose, that there is always a reason behind all things, and that one of the things that she talks about, in terms of good is patience, love, right? And little by little, we are going to be removing the storms that exist between us and prevents us to connect with God. And and then again, a long period of adaptation, because you see, when we were living in with certain values and habits that we had, it's not easy for us to break them. It takes time for them to be completely incorporated in us, that we don't even remember how it was before, or when we think about it, if we do remember, we will be horrified with certain behaviors that we had, right? But again, well, this is what she's saying: don't stay there, stay here, stay in what you are today. We are we sh- The idea is not for us to be whipping ourselves and beating up ourselves and say, oh my God, I was so bad, I did this and that. No, it's about, you today and what you are proposing to become tomorrow. and understanding that it's a long process and we come from ignorance. We didn't know things better. There are many things that today, it's just today that we are learning that they were not good to us, right? And so now that I know, I have a different responsibility. It's no longer the responsibility of an ignorant person. So we cannot judge ourselves with values that we have today, but we didn't have at the time when we committed the wrongs. We have to, forgive ourselves. We have to forgive others because they, like ourselves, also didn't know better. And this is the dynamics that we have to get into. Any comment or question? Mm-hmm.
Donna Marina, she's very interesting because every time when I disagree with her opinion or behavior or something, and I start to explain to her about this kind of subject, the first action is like she answered me like, "No, you're wrong," and then pass days and she come back and, "Mom, I thought about that, and you're right." Then it's very interesting how she acts, how she processes the information. And then when you mention about this, it's the same about our life. In the first attitude, it's no, I'm not agree, I'm wrong. But
Mm-hmm.
past day, past years, we look back and say, yes, I was wrong. I was wrong. Then it means we had started to improve our behavior when you are able to look back and agree I was wrong.
It's so interesting, Sonia, you're saying that as well, because you see, uh, you're talking about her daughter, but people do pay attention to us and to what we say. In this case, you had the opportunity of her coming back to you and say, you know what, I was thinking about it and you're right. But there are many people that will be observing that maybe we will not be crossing ways too much, but they will be learning as well from us, from our behaviors. And that's why even when we do not realize, we can make huge impacts in the world, in the world around us. And it's, it has a growing effect. But you see, it's wonderful because the thing is, she's listening to you and she's keeping that and she's giving it a chance at least to try to say, well, let me process this information. And this is wonderful. This is really, but you see, again, it takes time. And I think the same happens with us when we are reading a book or listening to something and we start questioning, I don't know. And then we will give time to reflect and see what is good or not for us.
Yeah, we need time to understand.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you mentioned, always mentioned, we didn't know. Then we are in process of learning. Then sometimes we read something in the gospel, for example. I sometimes I start to read a paragraph and I never read things before. And it's not true because I read the gospel again and again. Then for me, it means like now I'm more able to understand that hidden meaning between lines.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Oh, go ahead. And sometimes it's not just about, understanding the right meaning, because I do believe that the gospel has so many different meanings, layers,
Yeah,
but it's like, on that particular day.
It assimilates.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh. I was going to say, I read the gospel every morning, right? When I shower, yeah, I play it so I can listen to it. And same as you, Sonia. And today it happened. It was something about honoring your mother and your father. And I was like, huh? And I'm like, of course, I've read it 1,000 times because I do the gospel, the spirituals book, the mediums book, it's a rotation. So of course I already read that, but some days it just clicks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So it's just, yeah.
And it clicks in a different way because maybe you understood before a certain level, then it's the according to the experience you see from a different angle. Remember last week we were talking about the 6 and the 9. You start seeing
Yeah.
from a different angle, and it's not that angle that you saw before was the wrong one, but it's a new one. It's a different one, and one that complements the other, and that makes it even more powerful than before. I love that as well. Okay, let's continue reading here. Let me see where. The being's evolutionary, oh no, it's here. This prerogative leads you to understand that the union of the spirit with matter has a deeper meaning, extending beyond conventional concepts, for it is the exact mechanism to rise from the coarse clay to a sublime instrument of elevation. Do not hold back in the face of misunderstanding and perturbation, and may no one else but Jesus be your model and guide, for those magnificent guiding qualities are found only in Him. Some individuals appear to shine on the outside, drawing interest because they seem happy and complete. They display joy and are apparently examples of self satisfaction and superiority in the face of life's vicissitudes. However, when it is time to show equilibrium and moral valor in dealing with failure or misfortune, they fall off the illusory throne they build to call attention to themselves. Give yourself the gift of balance in every life situation, knowing that everything is an experience intended to cause you to grow and overcome ignorance. As a student of the universe, you are continually learning, and it is fascinating to be able to face the challenges that strengthen courage and bolster the resources put at the service of the advancement toward God. Reincarnated or not, noble spirits are recognized by the greatness of their sentiments and by the love they have for humankind in all its different aspects. The humbler they are, the higher the place they occupy. They are the ones that demonstrate the magnificence of real victory, the kind that never changes places or characteristics. Thus, when you think about victory, remember the man of Nazareth, whom, in order to demonstrate the glory of immortality, did not fear arbitrary judgment, took the cross of infamy and death, and on the third day, beyond the mistrust and widespread persecutions, he victoriously returned to our side to be with us forever. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, so um, it is hard for us not to be sometimes drawn to the light that represents more material aspects of life than the spiritual aspects of life. Because it is still our nature. Uh, Again, there is nothing wrong with that if we know how to balance things. If we, at the same time that we are going to be admiring the successes of people, whatever, uh, we will remember that much more than just what represents material success. There is the spiritual success. And most of the times, we will find spiritual success in people that are very, very humble. Um, and humble doesn't mean they didn't have any money. Let's think about, the Queen Isabel of Aragon. She was a queen married to a king, but she was humble, completely humble, and she would go and talk to each and every person, would disguise herself to go to the streets and give bread to those that were suffering from hunger. And so it's not a matter of, oh, I have to be poor to be spiritually evolved. No.
To be accessible to everybody, right? It's to be open, to be, and Isabel would go to war with the soldiers, just like any soldier. And people follow her more than they followed her husband. And they were equal reigns, right? Because he had part of Spain and she had the other part, and she never lowered to like, I am your queen, like I am a queen as your king, but she did all of that. It was amazing. Amazing story, of course. Great spirit, I'm sure.
Yeah. Have you read this book, Sônia, Rainha de Aragão? Oh my God, I don't have it. I mean, or I don't know what I put it, but I read it. It's so beautiful. Read a little bit about her. And actually, you know who she is? She is, in the story of Andrea Luiz Nossolar, there is this very evolved spirit whose name is Veneranda.
Yes,
It is
it's
her. It is her. And they say that there is one of her incarnation that she reincarnated in Recife, Brazil, and it was very, very poor, but it's still she was known as the queen of the bread because she was poor, but she would bake bread as much as
she had the aura, right?
yeah, and she would be distributing bread as well. But yeah, so it's not about being rich or being poor. It is about what you have in the inside, and this we see Chico Xavier, for instance, a very highly evolved spirit, without a doubt, that was always like very humble, and he was not humble just to false modesty or something. No, it's because when you grow, you realize that there is so much to grow that there is nothing for you to boast about, right? Just say, oh, I'm so great in that. Well, good for you. Let's go to the next lesson then, right? Well done. I will cheer you to keep on going, keep up the good work, and let's move up. Yeah, and so and here in this case is what she's talking about here in terms of real victory. What is real victory? What is real victory for the spirit, for us as immortal spirits? And like she says, what the world cannot see, like when they saw Christ being crucified, and look, he's being crucified, he is not the as powerful as people say he is, otherwise he would rid himself of that painful death. And then it comes life eternal. It shows us that life goes on, and that uh, I am not worried so much about what I have in this speck of light in the universe, right? But I love when she calls us a student of the universe.
Yeah.
Right? What do you do in life? You know, you can say, I'm a student of the universe.
Student of the universe. I love that. I'm gonna add that to my title.
I think we should, right? You should, and I should as well. I'm a student of.
You know, listen, I'm tall, blonde, blue eyes, skinny, rich, and I study of the universe.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it.
You know, we were talking about off the lesson today. I was just thinking because Divaldo, of course, is now in the spiritual realm. Have we received anything? Any news? Any hellos? Anything? Have you heard anything?
People have been very discreet in saying anything about it.
Uh-huh.
So officially, no.
Okay.
I mean, like a message. I think everyone is waiting to for let's say a formal message
Yes.
come from Mansão do Caminho, from one of the mediums there, and but I have been hearing people that have felt his presence and that have seen him, that you know so I
We miss
myself,
him.
I feel him sometimes. I don't know. I cannot tell for sure, but I do feel him sometimes. I talk to him, you know,
Yeah, of course, of
and
course.
that connection. But there is no official message
Yes, yes.
yet, and from him. I think people. But I'm sure he's already giving a lot of message.
Oh, I'm sure. He doesn't
Maybe
stop working.
he's just signing like Joanna de Angelis used to do with him for years, a spirit friend, without revealing or giving a name.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm sure he is up and running already.
Oh, for sure. I
Yes,
don't think he had a day of rest.
yeah. I think that he considers, you know, the resting time, the time that he was obliged to
Here.
bed.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, in bed because of
yes,
yeah,
you know, he
illness.
was
Uh-huh.
bedridden because of his illness. So
Yeah.
I mean, if I know him, he would go there and say, "Okay, enough, enough of that.
No, yeah,
I already rested. I,
I know. I'm
I'm
ready.
I'm ready." You know. Yeah, that was his spirit. He was so full of vitality, you know. It was inhuman. I mean,
Yeah, unbelievable.
yes, unbelievable. And
It humbles us, right?
yes, I mean, we could, in terms of energy, we could say he was a superhero. You know, that was his gift. He was a
Yeah.
superhero. I mean, because it's unbelievable what he was
It
capable
is.
of doing, and the many hours a day he would be working
Crazy. Non-stop. Yeah, non-stop.
nonstop, and just feeling like, and one day he came here to a very, very important meeting gathering that we were going to have at the city of Lilydale,
Hmm.
in the surroundings area of Hydesville, where the Fox sisters uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and and the city today that is the considered to be a spiritualist city, and we were going to he was going to be giving talks there for like 400 people, and his plane delayed, and with that he lost the connection. I don't know, he was traveling for a day and a half, and it's not easy also to arrive in, next to Buffalo and Lilydale. And he arrived there almost at the time where he already had some engagements, and the organizer of the event came to him and said, I cannot believe you look fresh as a daisy. How come? And I remember that was the first time I heard that expression, and I never forgot about it. You look fresh as a daisy. He had been traveling for 35 hours or so, and was there smiling and
Unbelievable.
unbelievable, unbelievable. So were very fortunate to have had him in our times, and how much we learn.
Among us,
learn.
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so Miss